All right, welcome back. The man from Pakistan, Raj. Dude, thanks for coming back for the second time to get this right.
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure being here.
Yeah. So we're going to get right into it. Raj here, I met at work, and he has a great story. He's originally from Pakistan, like I just mentioned. What am I forgetting already? From Pakistan, came to the U.S.,
Came to the U.S. 23 years ago. Lived in the U.K. for a few years,
and then
and
almost
stuck in
died
Utah.
and almost died stuck in Utah and survived a kidney transplant
Yes.
and all this.
Yep.
So you've had a wild ride, brother.
Yep.
And I always love hearing the story. So let's kickstart it off, dude. Cheers again. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. So what was it like growing up in Pakistan, dude?
Growing up in Pakistan is very different than the U.S. Definitely. It was almost 24, 25 years ago. Very different than how it is now. Especially, I would say, the city that I grew up in. It's right next to Afghanistan. It's a few kilometers away. I've had great memories in Pakistan. Still have really good friends that I talk to over the phone or through Facebook. So I keep on getting updates on
Yeah.
how things are.
Yeah.
But as I said, I grew up in the city, few kilometers away from Afghanistan, so it was pretty rough growing up. Especially when at midnight or 2 a.m. you could hear the bombing or shooting from the other side of the border.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough. But other than that, Pakistan is a beautiful country. Back then, we had many tourists, many foreigners. When I say foreigners, that would include many people from the U.S. that would come and visit Pakistan and teach English as a second language, with Pakistan being a British colony back from the 1940s. When the Britishers left, they still have everything according to how the British used to be what they did, especially the tea. We
Yeah.
still drink tea 3 to 4 times a day.
Man, never could get into tea.
Oh, yeah.
Lord knows I wanna, but man, I can never, I can't get into it, man.
And we drive on well, when we say we, even though I'm an American now, I consider myself from the U.S., but people in Pakistan even drunk on the wrong side of the road, or would you say right side?
So they drive on the right side,
On
right?
the right side of the road.
Yeah, we drive on the left here.
Correct.
So yeah, I think we're the only country that does that. I
I think U.S. and Canada.
And Canada.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know all the driving techniques throughout the world, but I think we're one of the few that head to the left.
Always good
When
to
we
be
drive.
different too.
Yeah, nothing wrong with being a little different, man.
Definitely. But yes, I've been here for 23 years, man, and I have not been back to Pakistan until next month. I plan on visiting again.
Nice.
So
when I think of Pakistan, like growing up, again, this is the ignorant side of my Americanness because I'm not from there, and I'm only fed propaganda, and I should look into it. Shame on me. But when I think of Pakistan, I just think of dirt, desert, like houses made out of cement. Like no plumbing, no like nice things that we have in the U.S. like electricity, simple things like that. Is it like that growing up or certain areas?
not at all, actually. There might be some areas of Pakistan, especially not so rich places, I would say.
Okay.
Because quite frankly speaking, and I understand, many people who have not seen Pakistan or visited Pakistan or many other countries do not have an idea of how it is. Of
Absolutely.
Course,
Yeah.
we only look at what the media shows us. Where I grew up, we had all the facilities that we have here in Utah. And yes, that is correct. There are many houses that are made of made of clay or mud, like,
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, it's more of the not so educated places.
Are we talking like the outskirts? Kind of
Yes.
like
Yes.
not desolate, but just out there,
Just out there, and that would include some of the slums
the
as well.
slums.
Yeah.
So for us that don't know, where was your hometown? Like, if we're looking at Pakistan on a map, are you north, sitting up against Afghanistan,
It is
or
northwest.
northwest?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And am I getting my directions right?
You're doing
Afghanistan.
amazing, man.
Okay.
You're doing a
Afghanistan's
lot
right
better
there.
than many people. I'm very impressed. Yes.
Well,
So
we've had this
northwest.
conversation so many times. Like, it's starting to like. I look at the map and go, okay, that's where.
Oh yes, yes. Man, I appreciate you. Looking at the map, and
Yeah, I want to figure it
that
out,
means a lot,
man.
man. Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, there are many places in Pakistan, as you mentioned. With those situations, but at the same time, if you go to the capital city of Pakistan, it's Islamabad,
Mm-hmm.
and Karachi. It's actually one of the largest cities of the world.
Really? Bigger than like Mumbai, like India?
It's almost as big as Mumbai,
Wow.
Karachi. Yep.
Mumbai is huge.
It is huge.
There's just way too many people in that.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
there's a big issue over there. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a lot of people stuck in that spot. There's like 1 million. There's just too many people sitting on top of each other. I feel
Overcrowded.
bad.
Overcrowded.
Yeah, very
yes.
overcrowded.
Yep. And that's how it is in Karachi too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Damn.
But hopefully things get well, and people are actually allowed to go visit those places
Yeah.
in the future. If you ever get a chance, man,
Well, I would only go
would
with
really
you.
like it.
Yeah. I would only go with you.
Oh,
if I
yeah.
went over there by myself, I'd be like,
I'm pretty
I
sure
probably would
I
never
will
make
be.
my way back to the U.S.
I'm pretty sure I will be going back
Yeah.
again after next year or this year.
I would love to visit, man. I have a friend from India, and I plan on going to India with him.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, why not, dude? There's so many places I want to see.
I wish us Pakistanis had the opportunity or an option actually to go to India, because I'm not exactly sure how much history you know of Pakistan and India, but they were one country.
Mm.
And in 1947, they split. It used to be known as Hindustan. When they split, India became India, Pakistan. But ever since that split, Pakistanis are not allowed to go to India, and Indians are not allowed to go to Pakistan
Why is that?
because of different beliefs, all the issues, all the problems that they've been having ever since they split.
Why would they split? What was the cause?
So it was
Political
it
nonsense?
was a British colony back in the day. Before the
those-
Britishers left,
those
they
Brits,
basically split us up. Families were literally scattered. There were, some of the families were left in Pakistan that couldn't go to India, and vice versa. So it was very sad. My parents were little kids at the time, so they know quite a bit of.
So they lived through that. I couldn't
Yes.
imagine living through the British colony.
Oh my goodness,
How freaky. Man, your parents lived through that, huh?
they did.
Wow.
Born in the 1940s. Yes.
Did they write a book about that? That has to be the most wildest time
Oh yeah.
to just be like, here's Britain, this little tiny, well, not tiny, but little sliver of land, and took over half the world at one point.
Yes.
And split colonies and slavery, diseases.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they messed up a lot of things. A lot of things.
Quite a
know?
bit. Exactly. Yes.
And not to the British people now. Obviously, it's not their fault, but like back then.
Back then.
Were your parents, did they see like the redcoats Brits? Like the
Yes.
old school ones?
Yes. They did.
Whoa.
Yep. And they were
Wow.
probably like, 4 years old or 5 years old. My mom was actually born in India, and it's because her dad was a priest, an Anglican Presbyterian priest. He was in India he was getting his theology certificate. So once he was done getting his theology certificate, since he still had his family living in Pakistan, my mom was born, and she was 4 or 5 months old when they moved to Pakistan.
Mm.
So technically, she was born in India.
Wow. Dude.
But I would love to go. I'd love to visit. I heard it's gorgeous. I heard the people are amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very, very welcoming.
Yeah.
I just wish these issues would end someday.
Yeah.
So the government from both places would allow us to meet each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I feel like that would benefit both you guys because Pakistan, pretty huge, a lot of land, and then I feel like it could all be developed together as one.
Oh, yes.
You know, instead of everybody just crammed into Mumbai, everybody just crammed over here. Yeah. You know, let's open that up a little bit.
The borders would open now. People would be, they'd be so happy
I bet.
to meet each other. Seriously.
You know.
And I could only imagine how many families would be able to meet once the border is opened up, you know.
Man.
So, yeah.
Dude, that's wild about your parents. I had no idea. Dude, I couldn't imagine Britain being over here and I'm looking at the red coats like, hey, you have to abide by these. You know, pulling out their dumbass scrolls and reading off rules that make no sense, but only to them. You know, taking land from people.
It's rough, man.
What a horrible time of history.
I can't even imagine how those times were.
Yeah.
For so many people.
We're so lucky not to have to go through that. You thought you had it hard? Just think about stuff like that. You know?
We're so lucky, dude. So happy to be here, man. Seriously.
We're so lucky even to do this. Sit down and like talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
Some countries, they would kill you for doing stuff like this. And here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Man. So when going back to growing up in Pakistan, what was the schooling like out there? Is it kind of like here or
schooling
kind of loosely forced?
Exactly the British way, man.
Oh, really?
Very much, yeah. So at least I know when I left Pakistan, they still had high school up to 10th grade. And after 10th grade, you go to college. That's how it is back in the UK, anywhere in the UK.
Oh, really? It's only up to 10th, huh?
Correct.
Wow.
Unless they've changed it now.
Okay.
But you're only 15 years old and you're in college. That's how it is, yeah.
Wow. I wish they would do that here. High school was such a waste of time. You were really just killing time. You're hanging out. Yeah. You're just trying to gain maturity, I guess. Because when I hit college, I was caught off guard big time. I was like, I don't even know how to write a paper. Like,
it's very different here than how it is in other countries. You'd be surprised. I already had my associate's degree in computer engineering when I moved to the US, and with I being so young in my teens, early teens, 16 or 17, they wouldn't accept my degree. So they told me to go back to high school for 1 year.
What?
Yes.
Here they told you that?
They did, in Utah. Yep. So I had to go back to high school, even after transferring all my transcripts from the college back in Pakistan to the high school here in Utah. They still wanted me to get an actual high school degree from her. So I went to high school for 1 year, man.
Oh my God, dude, like Billy Madison just starting over.
Oh, man, seriously, it was rough. Seriously. Just imagine going to college for 2 years, getting your associate's degree.
Yeah, you put the time in already.
To go back to high school.
So did they acknowledge your associate's degree though once you got your high school diploma?
They did not.
No.
They did not.
So nothing even mattered, huh?
Nothing mattered.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is frustrating.
Rough times, man. It crushed me.
Yeah. Because you already know everything. You're like, why do I have to do this again?
Exactly. Yep.
I'm just repeating and spending money that.
Well, my brother had a bachelor's degree in political science.
Yeah.
And when he went to community college or, University of Utah to see if they'd accept his degree, they did not accept his bachelor's degree. So they had him go back to college for 2.5 years to get a bachelor's degree because it was not accepted.
I wonder why. What difference would it make?
Yeah. The education system is very different over here. But then again, it was 23 years ago. It must have changed now.
It has to have changed.
Yeah.
Because if I were to take my education, for an example, I'm spitballing here, took everything I know and went to the UK, I'm pretty sure they would be like,
it would be accepted.
it's pretty universal. Physics is physics, math is math, like,
Correct.
and that's what mine is all in, and that really doesn't change much, if at all.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
Plus,
pretty
you've got
sure
the experience and
Right,
your,
right.
You know, the career that you're working in.
the machines are pretty universal at this point.
Definitely.
So even now, I think if you have any type of bachelor's and you go to a different country, I'm pretty sure they acknowledge it.
accepted.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, even if you took your bachelor's degree to Pakistan or India, it is accepted over there.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
Correct.
Is I think if I went anywhere else in the world, cool, but for some reason, U.S. has to be a stickler about things.
Yes.
No, that's not
Yeah,
our.
their degrees are accepted anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's what's weird, man.
So
U.S. is interesting, man.
this is one of the biggest advantages of living in the U.S.
You get a U.S. passport, bro. Pick a place and go there.
without even thinking about getting a visa.
Right.
Just have your passport,
Yeah.
get a ticket, and just fly away.
You want to come to the U.S., dude? Visa, passport, dude. Interviews.
Definitely.
Man, it's tough to get in here.
You know, when we first moved to Utah, like I said, 2000, it took us almost 7 years to get our green card.
Mm-hmm.
From the time we got our green card, it was extra 5 years for us to get our U.S. citizenship.
Yeah, I have a friend going through that right now.
11 or 12 year process.
Yeah, which is frustrating. My friend from India, who I talk about, who I love, he's in that process right now.
Is he?
He still has to like submit forms for his green card. I had to write a letter just about him that I know him.
Recommendation.
Yeah. He had to redo that so he can just keep his green card.
Wow.
It's like, but this guy's been paying taxes.
Yeah.
He's smart. He's educated. He has his degree. He got his degree here. You know, he's invested into the U.S. and they still hold him like in jail.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. So he's
It's
a
rough
good
at
dude,
times.
you know. But then you got people slithering through the border and just taking whatever they want.
Yep.
And this guy's trying to stay here and have him submit paperwork, and they won't even give him citizenship because
It's
of
tough
that.
at some people.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I love the U.S. I'm not mad dogging it,
Oh, yeah.
but they need to reform a lot of things on how they look at people, I think.
You know, when we were moving here, one of our family friends who had visited the U.S. a few times, you know what he said to us? He said, "You guys are lucky because U.S. is heaven for you."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it was when we moved here, man. Just imagine moving from a country like Pakistan or India,
Yeah.
where we do not have all these facilities that we get here in the U.S.
Yeah.
It was heaven for us, man, when we arrived here. Everything was different, you know. The smell, the atmosphere, you know.
The greed.
Yeah.
The greed gets me, man. It's so frustrating. The taxes.
Taxes.
It's
man.
heartbreaking sometimes.
Speaking of taxes, it's coming up. Tax season, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God bless America. You get taxed all year and then you get taxed again for filing taxes.
Filing taxes.
Doesn't make sense, but whatever.
I wish there was a way for us to qualify for Social Security in our 30s, you know, instead of waiting till we hit 60s.
I think you can if you have some sort of like major disability.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if
you're not
you're
able to work.
blind, that's one of them.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. If you're blind, they pretty much.
Or
But
some sort of, if you're. Yeah, I'm thinking there are quite a few different things that could qualify
Yeah,
you to get this.
I think if
Social
you're
Security.
missing like both limbs of some sort,
Yeah.
like both hands, like it sucks. It has to be something like outrageous, you know, for you to get that. It shouldn't be like, well,
ESRD,
yeah,
and stage renal disease, you
yeah,
qualify for it no matter how old you are.
really.
So I was getting my Social Security. However, I was not actually getting it. Medicare was paying for my dialysis,
Okay.
and I shit you not, $15,000 a day for dialysis. $15,000, man.
You saying 55 or 15?
15.
1 5? So every
A
time
day.
you had dialysis, 15 grand.
Yes. Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you, and we'll get into that, but you had dialysis 2 years?
Almost 2.5 years, actually.
So what's the math on that? That's,
I was on peritoneal dialysis,
yeah.
where you could do it any way you wanted to. You
Uh-huh.
could stay at home instead of going to the clinic.
Yeah.
You could do it at home. If I were going to school, I could do it in school, at work, anywhere I wanted. That was the advantage of peritoneal dialysis. So, but I did it for 15 to 16 hours a day for almost 2.5 years, man. So that was rough.
I could imagine.
And I do not wish that on anyone in their early 20s.
Yeah.
When it's your time to enjoy your life, you know. I hit 21 and a year later, I had a kidney failure.
Yeah.
So my early 20s were on dialysis. Yep.
Yeah, coming up, let's bring that up to par. So, grew up in Pakistan, pretty straightforward. Then you all moved to London for a while, right?
Correct. That's where my mom's family is.
Yeah, and you lived in London for 7 years, you told me, I think?
Almost 6-7 years, yes.
Yeah. You still, you gained an accent from it too, right?
I did.
Yeah, I could
The whole
tell
family
some
did,
of your
actually.
words, I could tell, like, yeah, that's a little bit of English
Also
in there.
because my
Little
dad
Brit.
was a professor for English literature, English grammar.
Uh-huh.
He was very strict about it.
Was he?
Very strict about proper English, proper spelling,
Uh-huh.
proper pronunciation.
Wow. I met your dad. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't get that vibe of like...
Yep. So he, just to give you a little bit of background of what happened, back in 2002, 2003, he had a stroke when we were in Utah, which caused his right side. It was completely paralyzed. So he was not able to teach. He was not able to speak, not able to talk or walk. Took him a while to get back to normal. So yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. Had some serious health issues himself.
Yeah, I remember when I met him, I remember you telling me, yeah, he had a stroke. Yeah. And like a dumb idiot I put my hand out to shake his hand. And then I remember I was like, oh, yeah, he can't. I felt
he probably
bad.
wasn't able to shake his hand because his hand is...
Yeah, he was
stiff.
holding his right hand, I think, to him like this. And he couldn't move. And I was like, oh, man, I'm an idiot.
Oh, no.
I felt bad.
Completely fine, man.
Because
He's used to it.
No, he shouldn't be, you know. He shouldn't be used to like, oops, you know.
Oh, no worries. Man. No worries. Not
But
your fault.
he taught at Cambridge, right?
Yes. He taught at Cambridge, and then in Pakistan, he was a principal for a British high school, which was affiliated to Cambridge University.
Wow.
So all the literature, all the textbooks, everything we had in Pakistan came straight from Cambridge University. Wow. Yeah.
How's his writing? Does he write longhand? Cursive?
He used to.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Was it pretty?
Yes, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I know those literature guys, their handwriting is phenomenal, man. Beautiful. He probably had that really fine
Really
pen.
nice. Join.
Dipped it in ink and shit.
Correct. Yeah. What we call in Pakistan joining writing.
Joining writing?
Joining, yep.
Yeah. No one really does longhand anymore. It's all shorthand, typing,
It's all shorthand now.
you know.
Correct.
It's a lost art.
Sometimes I miss actually writing longhand
Yeah.
because we're so used to, even at work or home, wherever we are, we're just so used to typing on our computers or laptops.
Yeah. I have one friend, Adrian. His cursive, dude, some of the prettiest writing I've ever seen. Longhand. Every time I look at it, I was like, man, how do you write like that? And I would always try to like mimic it, and it would just look like 2-year-old writing. I was never good at cursive. I can do it, but this guy, and he's left-handed, so it was just, it's beautiful, beautiful writing.
Left-handed people, man.
Yeah.
They're blessed for some reason.
Yeah, they're gifted.
Yeah.
They look at the world different. I appreciate left-handed folks.
Oh, yeah.
So growing up in, I shouldn't say growing up, but spending time in London, man, how was that? What age were you from there to before you got to the U.S.?
I was 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was 8 years old, and the time I spent in London were probably the best years of my life.
Yeah.
And some of my childhood memories are from the UK.
Yeah.
My mom's whole family is in London. They've actually been there for almost, I would say, over 40 years.
Wow.
My cousins were born there, and they still live there. Life over there was just beautiful, man.
I bet.
Amazingly beautiful. Everywhere you went, the people there were very welcoming, caring, I would say.
Mm.
At least that's what I felt, you know.
Good.
But yeah, I had a great time over there, man. I miss going there ever since COVID started. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to travel back and forth, but I hope someday, or I hope once I come back from my trip next month, sometime this year, I'll be able to go back and visit my family.
That's cool, man. So you were
And
there?
of course, the Scotch over there.
Oh,
Is the best.
I could imagine. Yeah, I can't wait. You know, I haven't had the urge to really go to Europe quite yet. I really want to go to, where was my grandma from? What's that place way up north? Right above Germany and Poland. Denmark.
Denmark? Oh.
So she's from Denmark. Yeah. Rest her soul, she passed away last year, I think. So we got some Danish in us, and I've been wanting to go to Denmark for
That'd be amazing,
a long time.
Yeah.
That would if one place I would go to Europe, that would be the one. If I didn't go anywhere else, though, just because she was from there.
Who did?
My grandma.
Oh, your grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And you said she passed away?
She passed away last year. Not from COVID. It's just she got old, you know.
Her age, yeah.
Yeah. Mother time. It was her time, and she passed away.
Sorry,
probably one of the awesomest grandma. I know everyone says that about their grandma. They should. If they're good grandmas, some of them are vicious.
Well, I'm sure she was an amazing grandma.
She was awesome, man. She was like, man, where did this person come from? Yeah. Like, they escaped the war, like World War II, when Germany was making their way up. I guess Germany would use that port through Denmark to, bring in troops and supplies up there. Man. So they took off. I think she was about 4 or 5 or something like that. And then,
imagine how much her parents did for her to take her out from there.
Yeah. Well, I found out recently my great-grandpa, so her dad, I met him once. And then come to find out, he eventually, later on, took his life. I guess he hung himself. Because in Denmark, in like Danish community, candy shops and sweets and things like that, kind of like are like a thing. Like, they have a sweet tooth. They make awesome like desserts,
candies, toffees.
Yeah. So he opened one here in the U.S. and it didn't go well.
It didn't go too well.
You know, that's not really a thing in the United States, and he just got really, really depressed. He couldn't take care of his family, and so he took his life. And
that's very sad.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, but it also explains like where the trauma of depression has been passed down, generation to generation. Like, oh, that's where it comes. Like, okay,
man, I can relate to it.
Yeah,
you know,
so it's tough. But going back to you, that'd be the only part in Europe I would maybe London one day. I would love to see Germany. Poland, Austria.
Yes.
I hear is very beautiful. But that's about it. I'm no thrive for like Italy and
don't forget Scotland and Ireland.
Scotland would be cool, and Ireland, yeah, those would be some cool spots.
Yeah. One of my best friends, he's actually my childhood friends. I've known him for almost 40 years. You can imagine how old I am then, right? He lives in Glasgow.
That make you 23, right?
What was that?
That make you 23?
Yes, for the seventh time, 17th time.
you
Yeah,
go.
his he lives in Glasgow, and he's
Where's
been there.
Where's Glasgow? For those who don't know,
What was that?
where's Glasgow? For those
Scotland.
who know? Scotland.
Yep.
Okay.
And he's been there for almost 25, 26 years.
Wow.
I have still not met him, but I would love to go and just visit. I've heard it's a beautiful place.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've had a couple friends go and they love it.
Wow.
Yeah, they loved it. So
Let's make a plan, bro.
let's do it, man.
Seriously.
There's a lot of places I want to.
Oh, yeah.
Life is very short, and we'll
Yeah.
get to it.
There's still places that we can actually drive to,
Mm-hmm.
So many national parks in Utah that we
Yeah.
can go to.
I mean, the United States alone is filled with things to do.
Oh, yes.
Man, like it's endless.
Absolutely, man.
You know,
There's so many places.
I've barely even tapped into the U.S.
Uh-huh.
traveling, but
Yeah.
but
One day.
one day,
Yes.
yeah, dude, it'll happen. It'll
will.
happen when it happens.
Yeah, when there's a will, there's a way.
That's right. So, how long were you from when you were in London? You were from 8 to 20, something, right? Something like that.
To my until my teens.
Like 16.
So we still used to travel back and forth, London and Pakistan.
Okay.
So in my teens, and then we finally decided because we were planning on we weren't permanently living in London because we did not have the nationality. So we still had to go to Pakistan after a little bit. We had to go to Pakistan. Then the house that we had, the property, we sold it, and then decided to move to Utah.
Gotcha.
So we went back to Pakistan again, and then moved to Utah after that.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
Did you ever hit any pubs in England?
In England, I went to a couple of pubs,
Yeah.
which I have yet to find those types of pubs.
You won't find it in the U.S., man. Did you ever go to any football games? And
Yes.
hit the pubs. Oh, hit this. Sing all the songs and everything, dude.
So when you say
Manchester
football, which football were you referring to?
You know, the English football.
The English football.
Yeah.
My I think I've told you this before, but one of my female cousins, she used to play professional football.
That's right. Yeah, you did.
For Liverpool. And I was a little kid, man. I wish I was
That's
old
cool.
enough to get to know those people.
Yeah.
You know. But I had a great time just
Yeah.
watching them play.
Yeah, I hear there's nothing like it. Just nonstop hoorah
Oh yeah.
and just people.
I used to play football myself. I loved playing cricket. Cricket actually is known as the sport. It's called the sport of the lords because it actually started in England. It's a national game of England.
Oh, really? What
So I
about
used to play
croquet?
cricket.
You ever play croquet?
Cricket?
Croquet.
Croquet?
You know that game?
No.
That's where you take these little like spike hoops, you stick it in the ground in the grass, and you have balls. And there's a trick to it. There's a strategy to all of it, and you have this little wooden mallet, and you just crack the ball,
Oh yes.
and it rolls on the grass and then through the hoop. Have you ever played that one?
I've never
I think
played
it's
it.
croquet.
But it's probably one of those sports or games that was played by the royal family.
I believe so. I believe, if I'm wrong, it's originated in the English community.
It's possible, yes.
I have to look it up, but yeah.
I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
but my grand from Denmark, she had it at her house growing up. That's all we would play.
Wow.
Was that game.
And if I'm not mistaken, the thing that you hit the ball with, its base is made of wood.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
It is.
It's like a big, long, the mallet they hit at like court. And
Exactly.
Quiet in the Court. It's like that, but a big version with a long stick.
Yeah,
you
yep.
hit the balls through the little
It
things.
looks like a fun game, man. Seriously.
It's actually very like therapeutic because there's strategy. You got to knock the other person out of the way, and you use the other ball to like create force to get it through. It's actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed it
I
as a
forgot
kid.
about that game.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
old game, dude. Old
Oh
game.
man.
I think that's what it's called, but somebody hopefully will.
You know what it reminds me of? Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's played in that.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're
right?
playing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I
that
was gonna say.
game. And I believe you're right. It's a very like upper class. Like,
Oh yeah, and you probably have to have a lot of patience to play it too.
Yeah. It can go on for hours, dude. If you're
Yes.
playing it right,
Oh,
man. Because then you create some sort of maze. I think some sort of pattern you have to get through, and then there's a stick in the middle, and you have to hit that to get a point.
yep.
So you can spread out like your pattern forever,
Oh yeah.
and it could take you forever to win.
I'm gonna have to do some research on
Me
that game
too. I'm gonna have to
Seriously.
buy it, dude. It's fun.
Looks pretty fun and interesting. Yep.
It's like the chess for grass.
I wonder if there are any leagues or any people that actually play that game here in Utah. I haven't seen anybody in Utah. Maybe in different states.
Maybe different states.
Correct? Yeah.
I would lean more towards the foreigners are probably playing that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't think it's not an American game.
It's
for
not.
Sure.
Yeah.
So no way are American. Yeah. So coming to Utah, man, how did you guys end up in Utah, of all places?
So in Utah, first of all, my dad wanted to come and teach here in Utah.
Okay.
And secondly, we moved to Utah because of persecution, religious and political persecution.
Oh, so we're talking 9/11.
What was that?
Are we talking 9/11 kind
Before
of?
9/11.
Before.
Before 9/11.
Who was
We moved here
persecuting you?
in 2000.
Okay.
9/11 took place a year after.
So,
So my family was actually Christian. We're still Christians from the Church of England, Anglicans.
sure.
And there was a lot of religious persecution in Pakistan taking place. And with my dad being a principal for a Christian high school, the local authorities in Pakistan, they wanted to take over the school. And it was a private institute. It was not meant to be owned by the government. So my dad had no choice other than just to leave the school, and we moved to the U.S.
How did you who mentioned Utah of all places?
So one of my mom's cousin, her and her family, they lived here in
Gotcha.
Utah. When anybody we spoke to about the state in Pakistan had never heard of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep.
Yeah.
So some of the very common states that we had heard of living in Pakistan were Illinois, California, Texas, like the bigger states.
New
and older
York.
states. Yep.
Yeah.
Utah was not on the map we had.
Yeah, I have a friend, Haruni, who's been on this podcast. He was from, where was he? Somewhere over on the other, oh my God. What are some continents over there? There's not
South Africa.
not Nigeria, not Zimbabwe. Wow. Anyway, their family ended up in Boise, of all places.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this guy was born in a refugee camp.
Uh-huh.
This dude is probably one of the most beautiful people I've ever met and had on the podcast a couple times.
Oh, wow.
And he's just amazing dude. But I'm like, how do you hear about Boise?
Yeah.
You know? Way over there.
You know, it's interesting.
Somalia. That's where he's
Somalia?
from.
Oh.
Yeah. Somalia.
Yeah, that's interesting. From Somalia to Boise,
Yeah.
Idaho, right?
Of all places.
Yeah.
How do you guys... And there's a whole process, like, you find people to bring you over. There's all kinds of programs, and
Oh, yeah.
they place you, and they
Refugees.
Yeah, and they
correct,
place you in
correct.
Boise.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Same for you guys. It's Utah, huh?
We were technically refugees when we first moved here until
Right.
we received our green card
Yeah.
7 years later.
How was the getting your green card? How's the process? Is it pretty?
So from the time we had our case approved asylum, the first thing we were given were temporary work permits that we had to pay and renew every year. If we did not renew the permits, then we would not be able to work, obviously. But every year we had to renew those permits. Even the social security numbers we had, or the social security cards we had, on them it was written only, they were only valid to work in the U.S. But once we received our green card 7 years later, everything has changed. We were able to go to Social Security office, get our permanent cards. But it was a process. It was a very long process.
Yeah.
We had to hire an attorney in the beginning because at that time, Utah did not have human rights or any immigration attorneys who would help you with your asylum case. So the attorney we had, she was from Virginia.
Oh man.
We had to fly her over to Utah every time we had a hearing at the court. So it was rough, man. We spent a lot of money. Every single bit of dollar or cent we had that we brought from Pakistan with us, it was gone.
Yeah, I don't think people in the United States understand how expensive it is to get established here, to even get a green card. I think that's why people just, when they see the border, they just go for it and then hope for the best, because the amount of money it takes is insane.
Insane.
It is so expensive. That's why people just disregard it and go for it. And I get it. I understand. Like it's insane how much it costs.
Correct.
To
and
get
it's for the
established.
whole family.
Yeah.
Everybody individually.
We're talking thousands in the 10,000s.
A little over 10,000, 15,000.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So we had to, that was a set amount we had to give the attorney for what she did. And then we had to pay for her ticket, round trip ticket. Virginia to Utah and back. To Virginia. Yeah. Her lodging, her food, everything we had to pay for. Yeah. It was rough, man. It was very rough.
Yeah.
We went to really, really hard times.
Yeah.
And there was a time none of our family members had enough money to buy a gallon of milk. So just imagine 5 of us not having any job, trying to look for pennies to come up with $1 or $1.50 at the time to get milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know about milk, dude. My dad was a stickler about milk. This fool would take a marker and scribe a line in the middle.
Wow.
And then sit us all down. He's like, if you go past this, you're going to pay for it, like, with your own money.
Really?
Or it was weird. You pay for it to get a new gallon, or what was the other one? You're grounded, and or it was another one. I'm going to fill it up with powdered milk to bring it up to another full gallon. Like, this fool would restrict, my dad would restrict, like, milk intake in our home because he was so cheap. And back then, gallon of milk was like $1.20.
$1. Exactly.
Yeah, cheap, dude.
Yeah.
And this fool would mark a line. And, like, we would, like,
man.
It got to the point where we would just take our bowl of cereal and fill it up with water, because it was the same thing. It got diluted so bad. I was like, what's the point?
That's rough, man.
And this fool had a job, dude. You know what I mean? This was an American citizen. This fool would torment his kids with a line over the milk. Like, don't go past this line, you're going to get grounded. It's like, okay. And we would just stare at that thing.
Man. I should not be complaining then. Seriously.
You know, I don't understand my dad technique. I get it now as I'm older. He was the oldest of 10.
Yeah.
So, like, I get where he was coming from. Like, everything was, like, tight. But I was like, there's only 3 of us, dude. Yeah. Like, you can afford a couple more gallons of milk, dude. Like, there's not 10 of us. There's 3 boys. There's 5. 2 adults. 3 kids. So, Took me a while to understand
Sorry to
that.
hear
We
that,
still
man.
talk about that. We joke about it now.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But my Aunt Linda, bless her soul, she would always, when she would watch us, she'd like, you guys get your own gallon of milk, whatever you want. And we would just glug, 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 glug.
Wow.
You know, I loved it. But I get where you're coming from, man. Like,
Yeah.
everybody has their struggles. Everybody
Yep.
has to find their way. And you guys did it, man. You guys figured it out. And I'm glad you did, man. You wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation if you didn't.
It's rough, but at least it's not gonna lie, but it's a blessing to be here in the U.S., man.
It
Because I've
really
seen
is.
people in Pakistan who have no milk for weeks and weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's gotten so expensive back there too.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a poor person in Pakistan cannot live off of 40,000 rupees a month. You know, that's how expensive it is.
You guys use rupees?
Rupees.
Rupees?
Yep.
So when you say 40,000, what are you talking like $4?
40,000 would be about, I would say, $150.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know
Less
that.
than $200.
Less
a
than
month.
$200
Yes.
a month.
Yeah.
And say you had $200 a month consistently. That's pretty good over there.
I would say probably at least 60,000 a month.
Well, what's that amount?
That
In
is
US?
about $300.
So if I had $300 a month, that's pretty
It
good
should be good for yourself.
for yourself.
For yourself. Yes. Yep. 60,000 rupees, $300. Yeah, almost $300 a month just for yourself.
Mm.
Yep. It's a poor country compared to the U.S.,
Sure.
but
I hate to use the word poor. You know, I hate that we use like, well, look at us. This is like
yeah.
how it should be everywhere else. Not necessarily, you know.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
You know.
So
What-
poor probably wouldn't be the best word to use. You know?
Yeah. Maybe just a little bit. Yeah. What do you use? I don't know. A little more established, I guess. Like, you know, financially more established. Like,
Correct.
here's what you would need.
Yeah.
I hate to use that because it's expensive to live here too, man.
It's gotten so expensive in the past 3-4 months, man.
If I were to go over to Pakistan, oh yeah, it's like $2,000 to rent a house. You'd be like, what? That's insane. It's only like a couple hundred here. You know?
Yep.
So I get it. It's tough, man. It's tough everywhere. Whether you come from the U.S. or anywhere, if you were to put me in Pakistan, I probably wouldn't last 2 minutes. Like, oh, I'm done. But
It's crazy, man.
you know, you take someone right out of Pakistan and put them here, they'd have a tough time.
Yes. Yep.
So it's
I
really,
can attest to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can attest. Your whole family could
Mhm.
attest to that. So
5 people all together, man.
yeah,
Not being able to afford anything. So thank goodness. Slowly things worked out.
they do. The thing about the United States, if you keep grinding day by day, little by little, doesn't need to be extreme, you eventually get where you want to get.
But
Yeah.
I must admit it took us almost 15 to 20 years
Yeah, it takes a
be
long
able-
time.
to be where we're at, where we at now.
Yeah.
So it takes a while.
Yeah, that's another thing. It takes a while. It's not easy. A lot of people give up too.
A lot of people give up, and then at the same time, there's so many people who expect to get everything as soon as they get here,
Yep.
except to have money, house,
Mhm.
car, everything. You know, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You have to work your ass off, man.
You do.
You know, even the locals who've been here for or born and raised. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to work your ass off to be where
Yeah.
you want to be.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the United States. It's tough.
It is.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It has its battles.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, man, you live in the U.S., it's pretty easy. It's a little bit more easier, I would say. Like things you need, things you can get, but they're not handing it out.
Yes.
You still have to pay for it.
There's still people out there, you know, who were born and raised with a silver spoon.
Mm-hmm.
Things are handed over to them. I'm glad I'm not one of those people because I would probably portray life differently
Yeah.
than I do now. You know, I struggled, you struggled, we both struggled, and I'm happy to be where we're at now, man.
Yeah. Same.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm
There's no
at.
happiness without any struggle. There's
Right.
no happiness without any sadness.
Yeah.
There's no light without darkness.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Even the rich people or the people who we assume have it well off.
Yep.
I mean, imagine being in that. You're always having to strive to be that.
yeah,
I have to be at this status. I have to be. Dude, that's a struggle.
correct.
I've watched a lot of people just throw it all away.
Yep.
It's like, man, I can't do it no more. So
Some people, who were given these things when they're born, they don't know what struggle is. They don't know what life is.
yeah,
You know.
I met those people.
So
I laugh. I go, good luck to you. When it hits you in the face, you're not gonna do well.
you won't be able to. You won't have your parents with you all the time to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to learn.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's a wild ride, dude. Life is a wild ride. Speaking of wild rides, when you got to the U.S., you had abrupt kidney issues, and you had a kidney transplant.
I did. Yep.
You almost died.
I did. I was on my deathbed.
You were on your deathbed.
Yes.
Dude. Sum that up for us. Tell me.
So, a lot of people actually did not know I was born with one kidney to begin with.
And you didn't know that, right?
I did not know. My parents did not know. Nobody knew in my family. Unfortunately, me and one of my cousins and one of my really good friends, we were driving back from Wendover, and we got into a car wreck. Really, really bad car wreck. Thank goodness we all survived with some scratches on our face. I had the windshield stuck in my head. That's the worst. What's the worst that could happen, right?
Yeah.
A few months later, I started getting symptoms of shortness of breath, which is one of the most common symptoms when you're going through kidney failure. So when I went to my physician, he found out I was having a kidney failure. Then he started asking me questions if I had gotten to a fight, if somebody, damaged my kidney, if they punched me, or if an accident took place. That's when it clicked to me. Yes, I got into a car accident. So I damaged my kidney in that car accident. I was on dialysis for 2.5 years after that. And this one time, my kidney transplant coordinator, who was working on finding the perfect kidney for me, she called me at 3 a.m. and she said, "Hey, we found a kidney for you. Come over so we can get that taken care of." I was on my way, and they called me again. She said, "Hey, sorry, that kidney was given to somebody else who needed it more." That was a rough night.
Like, please don't ever call me again.
Yeah, exactly. And she kept on apologizing, and I said, "You know what?
Sure.
If I'm gonna die, then it will happen someday.
Sure.
But I'm gonna think positive because I have a long life to go, man." Thinking positive helped me out quite a bit. A week later, she called me back. She goes, "Are you ready for it?" I said, "I am ready. Tell me what time." She goes,
Well,
"Right
ready
now."
for more bad news, Miss Bad News?
But at that time, it was the best news of my life.
Yeah.
February 24th, 2010, I was there in the hospital. They checked my vitals, and it was a 5.5 to 6 hour surgery for the kidney transplant. Yep, there were many complications.
Sure.
My potassium was high. I was taken into ICU for a few hours after the transplant, but I survived, man.
Yeah.
It's been almost 13 years. It's actually going to be 13 years next month.
Congratulations, dude.
I still remember the day. I was in the hospital for 5 days after my kidney transplant. The fourth day, I remember my physician came to me and she said, you may need to get another transplant in 4 years to 5 years. And I said, you know what? Screw you.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Here's
take
two
care of
middle
myself.
fingers. See you later.
Exactly. And I had a follow-up a couple of months ago, and she was surprised to look at my records and the date of the transplant. She said, I am shocked to see that your kidney is functioning still. And she said, you will not have any issues because you're past that time frame of complications or rejection.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, rejection happens fast. I've
It
seen
does.
it.
Oh,
It can happen in seconds too. They can be all done in a matter of seconds.
oh yeah.
All of a sudden, blood pressure dives, heart rate dies.
Yes.
Everything is
Congested heart failure.
yeah, it's like, uh-oh. Yeah.
See, these are the things I know so much about kidney, congested heart failure, that makes me wonder if I should become a nurse now.
You should become a nurse. You'd be great, dude.
Or a nutritionist, because I was on strict diet for those 2.5 years before the
Yeah.
transplant.
Well, I sent you that diet thing.
Seriously.
Have you
man.
been sticking to it? Have you started it?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Hopefully, sometime this year.
Yeah. And well, start it back when you get back from
Oh yeah,
your trip.
definitely.
It's hard, dude. It's hard when you're like, all right, I want to set this, and you're like, oh man, I got a trip coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
And
get
then
it.
you have to quit for a couple of months and then come back. You lose all that vibe. You know?
Yeah, it's tough. I get it.
Yeah.
But you did it, man. You got through that transplant. You spent years on dialysis that we talked about earlier, a couple of years, and you did peritoneal.
Peritoneal dialysis, and I had to lose quite a bit of weight too, because you have to lose a lot of weight in case you're overweight
Right.
to qualify for a transplant.
Yeah.
Lost 75 to 80 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah, and you were telling me you were big. You were like
Yes.
270 or something?
275, 280.
Yeah. Phew. And you did it,
So,
man. You got through that.
Never went back to that weight again, man, and I hope I don't.
You won't. You have a constant reminder of what you went through. Like, no, I'm not gonna go through that again. That's the ultimate. Like, no, I don't want to do that again.
And you know, whoever's listening to me, if they're going through end-stage renal disease, kidney failure, all you have to do is just think positive. And when your physician tells you to take your medication, you have to take your medication, man.
Yeah.
If you're on any sort of diet, you need to watch your diet.
Yeah.
You know, you need to watch what you eat and drink. It helps out. It's going to change your life.
Yeah.
Turns your lifestyle upside down, but it will save you. You know.
It will. I mean, you're a prime example of if you follow what is set in front of you, you have a long, beautiful life.
I still, up to this day, I still watch my diet, even though I can eat or drink anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was on dialysis, or even after the transplant, for a year and a half, I was in quarantine. I could not still drink alcohol. Now I can,
Yeah.
once in a while. So anything in moderation
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. Dude. That's so great, man. I'm glad you... Dude, man, you inspire a lot of people. You inspire me daily. When
And
I'm
you
sitting
inspire
there
me.
digging through, like, I creep into, like, complain mode. I go, nope. No. You stop it right there, buddy. There's people who would kill to even have the privilege of what you're complaining about, you know?
But, it's... Anytime I talk to you, anything you say, it's like fuel to my soul, man.
You're too kind.
Encouraging and uplifting. And I believe nowadays it's not easy to find good people or good friends. From the very first day we met, we started talking. I found an amazing friend in you.
Yeah. Likewise. It's a
Honestly.
click.
Thank you so much for being there for me, man.
Of course.
Yeah.
I get it because I've been through my stuff, and this is not about me right now, but you know my story.
Correct.
I was born with right in the gate of like, here's a bunch of shit gone sideways for you as a baby, and hopefully you survive.
Wow.
And I don't think people take cleft lip palate very seriously. They go, "Oh, that's an easy fix, man. Just one and done surgery." There's a lot to it.
No, a lot to it.
A lot to it. Because what people don't understand is your body, when you come out with something like that, they go, "Well, how does that happen?" That there's so many things that cause it. Scientists still can't like pinpoint like that's it.
Wow.
But what it's telling your brain as you're developing is we're done, and it stops while you're in the womb. Because if you go any bigger in the womb, then you're getting bigger and you can't come out and causes complications for the mother. So your body gets to the point where, okay, we're done. Let's get you out, and then you can get bigger. Well, the problem with mine is it shut off too early. So it shut off this portion of my face, shut off my vision, shut off my hearing. And I was set for a life of not much, probably if I accepted it and like was accepted what the doctors told me, like, here's as far as you can go, I would probably be working at some sort of fast food restaurant for the rest of my life. That's probably where I would be. Very mediocre jobs. And those jobs are not to be downplayed. Those are tough jobs. And I'm not stepping on any of those people because I've worked those jobs. They're tough, dude. And you don't get paid well. But those were the kind of jobs I would do, like manual labor. Education would struggle. I would struggle deeply. And I did all through elementary. I couldn't really read till maybe when I hit community college, when I was about 20. Other than that, I kind of just skipped it around and bounced around and kind of. I couldn't read or write, hear or see for the longest time, man. Like I could see, but I couldn't like focus.
Focus properly.
Everything was like an 80-year-old eyeballs. Like what? Always squinting at everything. Always like holding my ear. Like, huh? What? Stuff like that.
You're a miracle baby, man. Seriously.
And this was at a young age. This was a long period of time. Maybe all the way up to, they fixed my hearing when I was about the 5th grade. And I didn't get my vision fixed till I was about 20, almost 30.
Really?
Yeah. Like I finally got LASIK. Thank God for LASIK. People who shit on LASIK, like, don't get it, get it. Because
makes a huge difference,
dude. If I didn't get LASIK, I'd probably be blind by now. Like my eyes were headed in the wrong direction, and this was slow. This slowed it down and brought it back to normal.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, seriously. I was. I can't tell you like how envious I wake up as a kid seeing people like, you don't have to wear glasses that are like 5 inches thick. I rock the 80 glasses too, dude, like the big ones. Because they didn't have little kid ones. I had like the old school 80 ones, dude, like the big ones. And I had to put the things on the nose to like hold it up.
Man. Not gonna lie, but if you had not shared this with me, I wouldn't actually be able to tell.
Yeah, most people can't. Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, look at you, man. You're well settled. You have an amazing career. Majority of the people that I've seen, they only talk about going into radiology, becoming a CT tech, but they're not able to because it's difficult.
It's hard.
It's not easy. So it's a blessing, man. Serious. You're, like I said, you're a miracle baby.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Wow.
I don't throw it out there that much, but I do use it as an example of like, if you think your life is tough and the world's against you, try being born with some shit, not even knowing it and having it. Try being a kid born with cancer and then having to deal with that your entire life. Like what I was born with, nobody has any choice in being born or what they're born with, but I was born with a lot of things working against me. Like
restructuring everything, and then like redoing everything, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
cause what was that word? Getting your like how was it, and how old were you when this healed, or
So
what exactly took place?
sure, yeah, I wasn't all said and done with my reconstructed surgery, like dental braces, all that, till I was about 23, 24. That's when it was finally done. Like we hit the point where like we got your teeth where we can get it, we got your speech where we can get it, we got your eyes where we can get it. After that, you just have to monitor it and stay healthy. And it still bothers. It's my health has always been a stress for me.
Up and down.
Rightfully so. I mean, I was stressed out from day one. People were always like, "Why are you stressed out? Why are you worried?" I was like, "If only you knew."
You have no idea.
You have no idea. Like, try being born with some shit. Just always worrying, like, "Oh, I gotta have another surgery." Oh man, you're 5 years old, just sitting in pain.
Yeah.
You're watching your two other brothers just play, and you're like, "Oh, I can't do much."
How was it? If you don't mind me asking, how was it? Did you struggle in school with friends?
All the time.
Or making friends, or spending time with classmates?
Yeah, it's really weird now what I'm doing now and doing this. You would have never seen that as a kid. I was very shy, very bashful. I would try to find ways to get out of school because I hated it so much because I was so behind, like really behind reading, math. I was just not to sound or use inappropriate words, but retarded mentally just slow and retarded. Just like I don't get it. Like everything took me like 20 times longer than what we quote unquote average. It still does to this day. Like I have to really, when I'm in school, I have to really be like, calm down and take it one assignment by one assignment.
One step at a time.
Because if I start thinking about it too much, dude, I'm dumb. I can't do it.
It's hard to believe it, man. It's hard. I can't even see it. I can't even picture it. Seriously.
But I've always been a warrior as a kid, and I go, well, if I don't complete it, where would I end up? That would always be. I was like, do I want to work at McDonald's for the rest of life? No. And some people do. Cool. But nah, I think I could do this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let me go give it a shot.
You focused. You had a dream. You went for that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Was it easy? No, man. I almost bombed radiology school twice.
I came, I saw, and I conquered.
Exactly.
Seriously, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a testimony, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to listen to these stories. And I mean, some of the stories, kind of like yours, man, you were born with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if I was born with one kidneys or two kidneys, but I didn't find out later on in the night. But I can only imagine how hard it would be for you in your teens or younger years, trying to go to college, not being able to focus, or socializing with friends, right? That would be really tough, really hard.
Yeah, it was tough, dude. It was like, just being slow, just always being a slow learner and difficulty. And then I would I finally got diagnosed mentally what was going on, because there was a lot of mental trauma too, as a kid. It's going through all that pain and suffering. It toys with you. People who say, "Oh no, get over it." Like, no, it's like military. You go, you fight a war and you don't think anything about it. Then all of a sudden they tell you to go home and be normal. It's like, whoa, what?
It's not.
I was just shooting at dudes, and dudes were shooting at me. Like, how do you be normal in this? And then after a while, it was like, I started seeing like issues. Had to figure out myself, like, okay, I don't do well if I sit in the back of the class. So I always sat in the front, and I did better. And there's actually studies that if you sit in the front, you do better. I was like, all right, I'm going to do that. So I sat in the front. I may not have gotten A's or B's, but man, I rocked those C's. Definitely. And I got through it. And I kept doing that. If I was having an issue, I had to go to tutoring. I had to do double the work just to get through. And got through.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with you with sitting at the front and trying to learn. Because I remember back in high school or when I was in Pakistan, my my dad was our English teacher. And every time I sat at the back, he would tell me to come and sit in the front. And many teachers who, because I struggled in school, growing up, and having it at the back of your mind that your dad is one of the teachers, a vice principal, and then a principal. It was rough, man. It was hard.
Sure, I can imagine.
Traumatizing.
Yeah.
So every time I struggled with any of the subjects, I would be sitting at the back, and the teachers would actually tell the people or the students struggling by sitting at the back to come and sit in the front. And it made a huge difference, man. At that time, I didn't believe it. At that time, I laughed at it.
Yeah.
But now that you're talking about it, now that we're thinking about it, it is very true.
Yeah.
The backbenchers and the front benchers,
Yeah, I always sat in the front. I was like, man, if somebody sat in the front, took my spot, I'd be like, oh. Yeah. I was like, all right, I have to get here earlier then, and I would get there earlier.
If some of the kids or high schoolers or teenagers listen to this podcast, that's another thing for them to learn. If you sit in the front, you'll do better.
You will.
Than when you're sitting at the back of the class, So.
Yeah, man, it's just a wild ride. I don't wish it upon anybody.
Oh man.
Never. And if anybody asks, would you do it again? No. Yeah. Once was enough. I had my fair share.
Correct.
Yeah. Same for you. If like, oh, would you go through? Once was good.
Once was good. Once was good.
Fair enough. So.
And when I was going through my difficulties, my hard times, I thought I was the only one. It feels like you're the only one that's going through those hard times until you meet people.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to know your story, what you went through.
Likewise.
Some of those times were much, much harder than my times, man. Seriously.
Yeah, but what you went through, man, I couldn't do it. There's no way.
I don't wish that on anyone in their early 20s, because that's the time you find out who you are.
Exactly. That's the time to party, meet chicks, do things you're not supposed to do, Those are the years. Parties. Yeah. Those are the years to screw around.
I missed out on all that, man.
You missed out on all of it.
All of it.
Sitting in that room doing dialysis, trying to stay alive.
Trying to stay alive and think positive, knowing that I have a whole life ahead of me.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'd be meeting amazing people in my life. And I did.
Yep. Likewise. Likewise, brother.
Yeah.
I know after all said and done, I would start to meet people.
Yeah.
And I always have, dude. This whole podcast, all the episodes,
I'm sure.
I have met people where I'm like, how in the world have I met these people? Those kind of people just draw to you. Yeah. And I got my buddies here and there where they screw around. Like, their lives are pretty cool and they're funny. And, like, I love those guys too. And I love those conversations too. I'll never, I need those conversations. Definitely. Those will always be some of my favorites. But when I meet people, like, who've gone through some stuff, it's like, I get it, man. I totally get it. May not be the same avenue, but it's around the same block.
Life could be tough, man.
Totally. So, all said and done, how you like that whiskey, dude? How you like that
It
scotch,
is
I should
one of the
say.
best whiskeys I've ever had.
Good scotch, huh?
Good Scotch, man.
Old Band
Oh my
14.
goodness.
I have to give credit to my friend Roderick. He turned me on to that one. One of my favorites.
This is one Scotch I would just
Put a straw in the
sit
bottle.
and enjoy for the
It
rest
is.
of the night.
It's nice, huh?
Taking sips on it.
It's nice.
Wow.
It's really
Good
nice.
choice.
Yeah, man, it's one of my favorites.
I'm gonna have to get some now.
Oh, yeah, get it now. It's only about, I'd say, $95.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, is it worth it.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Definitely worth the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely. Well, my friend, you want to leave with any last words of advice for those out there going through something?
Not really, man. Other than just go for your dreams and think positive. You know, if anybody tells you you can't do anything, listen to them from this year. Take it out from there
Yeah.
and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's your life. At the end of the day, you're the one who is responsible for your destiny. Nobody else is going to be there for you. You know, you
Roger
make
that.
it. You make it yours.
Roger that.
And like I
man.
said, if there's anybody listening to me who is going through end stage renal disease, watch your diet. Please do what your physicians tell you to do. It is not a joke. It is real. So, but reach out to me if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to assist them or help them out with anything possible. I've been there. I've done it, and I'm here for anyone who needs help. So,
Awesome, man. Appreciate you.
thank you so much for having me, man.
Of course. Where can people find you if they got any questions about renal stuff? Are you on Instagram? I don't know where you are.
I am in Salt Lake City.
You know what, folks? If you have questions, just when this video is up on YouTube or whatever, just leave it in the
Leave
comments,
in the comments, yeah.
and then I will direct your questions
Definitely.
to you, and then get back to you.
If I could help anybody, it would be a pleasure, man.
Absolutely. Well, you are helping people sharing that story, man.
Definitely.
It's always incredible. I always love hearing it.
Thank you.
So,
Likewise.
all right. Thank you, sir, for coming on. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And please, folks, you can find this podcast where on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and as well as you can watch it on YouTube. It helps if you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Leave your comments, leave your questions. I will always get back to you. And until next time, take care of yourself. Peace.